And I think women in particular tend to view networking as work. And it's hard to get them to, consider it as something in addition to work that they need to do. So what are your thoughts on that? What are some of the cultural differences you're seeing with regard to networking, building relationships outside of the office, in addition to getting your job done in the office?
Look, priority is to get the work done, but building those relationships are critical to get the work done. For you to have an understanding if somebody's got a little personal problem at home, or, they're struggling because now during COVID, the husband's not working and now this is a single income, to have that understanding is so vital, how you can treat somebody on the floor and in your company. And that in the end builds trust. And what Vickers was saying is it's all about people management. It's about understanding. It's about, I see through my career, through continents and through multiple companies, at the end of the day, it's the relationships that I've built. I can move anywhere, but I still have a connection with that person. And that is a really personal connection. And I think networking, when you start becoming truly interested in people, it's not work. It's not, networking is not work, because you're truly interested in the other person. And by being interested, you understand more about that person. And what Dana was saying, most of the people that help you in the end is completely opposite to you. And to have that open mind, just because you don't like the person, is to have an open mind. Say, well, what can I learn? What else is possible? How come he sees the world and operate in this way, and be curious? And that way you learn so much. And it's never work for me, networking. I never see networking as work, because people are so fascinating and you learn so much all the time. One conversation, you always learn something new from another person. So I think to balance that out with objectives, you've got to find the time. If there's a critical deadline, you've got 24 hours to do something, and now it's not the time to chit chat and find out what's happening at home, or talk about football scores. It's about getting the job done. But there are moments in between, or coffee break, late night, where you can always find out what that person is about. And that's been golden nuggets for me, and building a thread in my relationships in my career.
I love the way you've reframed networking to be the telling of stories. It's really kind of beautiful to look at it as finding out kind of what the essence of somebody else might be.
Completely.
And I think that's a great way to make it more appetizing to someone who's not used to networking on a regular basis. So I think that's a great way to frame it. Dana, what are your thoughts on that? A lot of us are working tons of hours every week, and we're trying to fit in this thing, networking, on top of all of that, because it's not work, but it is something else we have to do in our schedule. How do you get people to do more of it, and how do you convince them that it's worth their time?
So most of my clients are too exhausted to network. They work a long day and they have children, and who has time for this? So what I suggest is you start with 5 minutes. Connect with someone one-on-one, 5-minute conversation where you listen and you learn something about them. And I've been doing this myself recently just to reconnect with people, because of COVID, we've been so separated and out of touch, that I say, let's just have a 5-minute call. So you jump on the video for 5 minutes, and if it goes to 10, maybe that's okay. But start small so you don't feel exhausted, like I have to go to this event, I have to get on this long thing that's going to go on for 3 hours for this conference. Start small.
That's a great piece of advice. And I've definitely done that before, where I go to an event and I'm just there for one panelist, for example. And it helps me either manage my time or just get myself there if I don't feel motivated enough. Sam, I'm going to let you close, and I'd love your opinion on this, especially as co-founder of Al-Sahm. Like, what are your thoughts about getting people to network, and what are some of the motivations you would use to convince them that it's very important?
From what I've seen, again, in the MENA region, is that, especially for women, that it's come to not knowing how to network, because networking is a fairly new type of relationship that we are meant to build. We learned how to build friendship, not really networking. So a lot of ladies, from what I've seen in our event, and had some chit chat or some discussion with them afterwards, for those that came to our event, that it was their first encounter with networking event, they would say that they don't know how to do so. They don't know how to introduce themselves, how to be storyteller, exactly as Marine was saying. But I think what works the most is to make it a pleasurable moment, something that you would enjoy. So you come with a story, you come with something to share that you find funny or achieving or stellar, something you like about yourself, and you try to share that story and make it something nice. Or you can even come and pretend be someone else if it will build some courage and make it more fun. There is also something I tried with some of my clients that can be a little bit shy, is we do something that we call peer networking. So we would go to 2 or 3 people would go to the same event that one of those people is interested in, and we will build their confidence, and we will go and discuss with people and say, oh, you have to meet this person, X is this and that, and you would love him. And then we introduce that, and we do that for an evening or 2, and then we take turns. And I found it a very good way to give a first nice experience to those people about it, because it's easier to play that role on the receiving end of that much work from peers, or to be able to help someone by introducing them and putting them in a cool limelight in front of the audience. So as long as it kept being funny and nice, people would go back.